The rescue. Captain Elara Vance stared intently at the view screen as her ship, the UES Endeavour, approached the source of the distress signal. The unknown vessel hung motionless against a backdrop of stars. "Scan for life signs," she ordered. Her second-in-command, Commander Jace Kellen, studied the readouts. "One life sign detected, Captain. It's faint." Elara turned to her security chief. "Lieutenant Greer, prepare a boarding party. Proceed with caution." Minutes later, Elara and 4 crew members materialized inside the alien ship. Emergency lights flickered. Debris floated through the air. They made their way to the bridge, where they found a single occupant slumped over a console. The alien was tall and spindly, with translucent blue skin and multiple compound eyes. A jagged piece of metal protruded from its abdomen, oozing viscous yellow fluid. Elara's medic, Dr. Lena Sorensen, immediately went to the alien's side. She scanned the injury with a medical tricorder. Her brow furrowed. The metal has punctured multiple vital organs, massive internal bleeding. For this species, it's a mortal wound. The alien's eyes flickered open. It watched in confusion as Lena sprayed sealant foam into the wound and wrapped a bandage around it. "Delu, what are you doing?" The alien rasped in halting tones, its translator struggling to interpret. "I am already dying." "Nonsense," Lena said briskly. "I've seen worse. We'll get you patched up in no time." The alien stared, its face contorting in an expression they could only interpret as bewilderment. Elara activated her own translator. "I am Captain Elara Vance of the United Earth Ship Endeavour. We picked up your distress call. What happened here?" "I am Zorax. My research vessel was attacked. Raider ships." Zorax winced in pain, still fixated on the bandage. "I do not understand. Your medic treats a fatal injury as trivial." "Ah, it's just a flesh wound," Lena said with a chuckle. "A little regenerative therapy back on our ship, and you'll be good as new." Zorax looked at each of their faces, seeing no trace of concern, only calm determination and even amusement. As the medic and her assistant carefully loaded Zorax onto a hover stretcher, the alien scientist's mind reeled. These strange beings had charged into an unknown situation without hesitation, and now they brushed off a certainly lethal injury as a mere inconvenience. What kind of creatures were they? Alien aboard. Zorax lay on a bed in the Endeavour's medical bay, watching the humans work with a mixture of awe and unease. They moved with such casual confidence, bantering, and even laughing amongst themselves, as if they hadn't just pulled him back from the brink of death. Dr. Sorensen checked the readouts above his bed. "Looking good, Zorax. The regenerative treatment is integrating well with your biology. You'll be up and about in no time." "I thank you," Zorax managed, still struggling to comprehend. "Your medical technology is impressive, but more than that, your attitude. I find it difficult to understand." Lena cocked her head. "What do you mean?" "Your people, you seem to charge into danger without a second thought. On my world, we have strict protocols. Safety is paramount. Risk is to be avoided at all costs." The human doctor chuckled. "Well, that's not really the human way. We're explorers, adventurers. We face the unknown head-on." As the days passed and Zorax regained his strength, he observed the Endeavour's crew going about their duties. He watched them train in the ship's gym, pushing their bodies to the limit. He saw them gleefully engage in games and sports that would be deemed far too dangerous for his own people. In the mess hall, Zorax found himself drawn into conversations with the friendly, curious humans. They asked about his world, his people, his work as a scientist. In turn, they shared stories of their own adventures, tales of daring and close calls that left Zorax simultaneously enthralled and horrified. One young officer, Ensign Teravos, became a frequent companion. She showed Zorax images of her homeworld, a place called Earth. Zorax marveled at the varied environments, from soaring mountain peaks to vast oceans. "Your world looks Challenging, he remarked. Terra grinned. That's what makes it fun. Humans have always pushed boundaries, explored new frontiers. It's in our nature. Zorax pondered this. His own people had once been explorers, but centuries of safety-first thinking had made them cautious, even stagnant. They expanded slowly, terraforming worlds to match their own, avoiding anything that might pose a threat. Watching the humans, with their adventurous spirit and resilience, Zorax felt a stirring of something long forgotten within his own heart, a yearning for discovery, for challenge, for growth. As the Endeavor journeyed towards his homeworld, Zorax found himself both eager to return and to share what he had learned, and strangely reluctant to leave his new human friends. The experiment. The Endeavor orbited Zorax's homeworld, a planet of soaring crystal spires and meticulously ordered cities. Zorax, now fully healed, prepared to return to the surface along with Captain Vance and a diplomatic party. As they materialized in the grand reception hall of the planetary capital, they were greeted by a delegation of Zorax's people, the Xurians. The Xurian officials were polite but reserved, eyeing the humans with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Over the next few days, as formal diplomatic talks began, a group of Xurian scientists approached Captain Vance with an unusual request. They wished to study the humans' remarkable physical resilience. Vance raised an eyebrow. Study how, exactly? The lead scientist, a tall, silver-skinned Xurian named Sailor, explained. Your species' ability to endure and recover from injury is unlike anything we have encountered. If we could understand the biological mechanisms at work, it could revolutionize our medicine. Vance considered. The Xurians were advanced, and an exchange of scientific knowledge could benefit both their peoples. And yet, I'll need to consult with my crew. Any participation would be strictly voluntary. In the end, a handful of crew members, including the ever-curious Ensign Voss, agreed to undergo a series of tests and trials under the watchful eye of Dr. Sorensen. Zorax watched in fascination as the humans were subjected to tests that would have left any Xurian incapacitated. They endured extremes of temperature, pressure, and gravity. They demonstrated an astonishing capacity to heal from injury, their bodies adapting and recovering at a rate that left the Xurian scientists astounded. But more than their physical prowess, it was the humans' indomitable spirit that truly set them apart. They faced each challenge with determination and even enthusiasm, cheering each other on and cracking jokes in the face of discomfort. Zilar shook his head in wonder as he reviewed the data. Their bodies are one thing, but their minds, the way they embrace adversity, almost seemed to revel in it. Zorax nodded, remembering his own time aboard the human ship. They are a remarkable species. Their courage, their resilience, it is unlike anything our people have known for generations. Among the Xurian scientists, a whisper of excitement began to grow. If they could harness even a fraction of the humans' adaptability, the possibilities for their own species could be limitless. But not all were convinced. Some watched the proceedings with growing unease, muttering that the humans' ways were reckless, even dangerous. They argued that the Xurians had achieved peace and stability precisely by avoiding such risks. Zorax, caught between two worlds, could only watch and wonder. The path ahead for both their peoples was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The encounter with the humans had awakened something long dormant in the Xurian spirit, a hunger for exploration, for growth, for challenges to be met and overcome. And that, Zorax suspected, would change everything. Cultural exchange. In the weeks following the scientific studies, a new era of exchange began between the humans and the Xurians. Diplomats, scientists, and cultural envoys traveled between the Endeavor and the planet's surface, sharing knowledge and experiences. The humans were fascinated by Xurian technology, particularly their advanced energy systems and matter manipulation techniques. In return, they shared their own expertise in areas like space exploration and ecological management. But it was in the realm of culture and philosophy that the most profound impacts were felt. More and more Jirians, particularly among the younger generation, began to embrace the human ethos of curiosity, adventure, and resilience. They started to question the rigid safety protocols that governed every aspect of their lives. They experimented with new forms of art and expression, pushing boundaries in ways that would have been unthinkable just a short time before. Some even began to venture out into the wilderness areas of their world, challenging themselves against the elements in a way that echoed the human spirit of exploration. Zorrox found himself at the forefront of this cultural shift. His experiences aboard the Endeavour had changed him profoundly, and he became a vocal advocate for a new way of thinking among his people. "We have become stagnant," he argued in impassioned speeches. "We have let our fear of the unknown, our obsession with safety, hold us back. The humans have shown us another way, a way of courage, of growth, of embracing life in all its uncertainty and wonder." But not all Jirians were convinced. A faction of traditionalists, led by a stern-faced elder named Kralos, viewed the human influence as a threat to their way of life. "The humans are reckless," Kralos declared. "Their disregard for danger, their impulsive nature, it will bring chaos to our ordered society. We must reject their ways and hold fast to the path of stability and safety." As tensions rose between the progressives and the traditionalists, Zorrox found himself spending more and more time with his human friends, particularly Ensign Voss. Terra shared his passion for exploration and his frustration with those who would hold them back. Together, they dreamed of a future where their two peoples could work side by side, facing the challenges of the universe together. But even as they planned and hoped, the shadows of conflict were gathering. Kralos and his followers grew more vocal in their opposition, more extreme in their rhetoric. Zorrox knew that a confrontation was coming, and when it did, he would have to choose between the safety and stability of his people's past and the promise and peril of a future alongside the humans. It was a choice that would define not only his own fate, but the fate of two intertwined species on the brink of a new era. Conflict and triumph. The attack, when it came, was swift and brutal. Kralos and his extremist faction struck at the heart of the capital city, seizing control of key government buildings and communication centers. Their demands were clear. The humans were to leave immediately, and all Jirians who had embraced their ways were to be arrested and re-educated in the traditional ways of safety and stability. Zorrox, who had been meeting with Terra and a group of like-minded Jirians, barely managed to escape the initial assault. They regrouped in a hidden safe house, their faces grim. "We can't let them win," Terra said fiercely. "Everything we've worked for, the progress we've made, we can't let them take it away." Zorrox nodded, his resolve hardening. "We need to fight back. We need to show our people that the way forward is not through fear and oppression, but through courage and unity." Over the next few days, Zorrox and Terra worked tirelessly to organize a resistance. They reached out to Jirians who had been inspired by the human way, as well as to the Endeavour crew still in orbit. Captain Vance pledged her support. "We're with you, Zorrox. Your fight is our fight now." The battle for the soul of Jirian society had begun. It was a fierce and costly struggle. Kralos' forces were well armed and had the advantage of surprise. But the resistance had something else, the determination and adaptability of the human spirit, now kindled in Jirian hearts as well. Terra and her fellow officers fought side by side with their Jirian allies, their skills and courage a shining example. Zorrox marveled at their bravery, even as he himself took up arms to defend the future he believed in. In the end, it was a combination of human tenacity and Jirian ingenuity that turned the tide. A daring raid on the faction's headquarters, planned by Zorrox and led by Terra, managed to capture Kralos and his top lieutenants. With their leaders gone, the rest of the extremist movement quickly crumbled, but the cost had been high. Many on both sides had fallen, and the scars on Jirian society would take time to heal. In the aftermath, as a new government took shape, Zorux found himself in a position of great influence. He used it to advocate for a new path forward, one that would blend the best of human and Jurian ways. "We have seen what fear and stagnation can bring," he said in a stirring speech before the newly formed council. "But we have also seen what courage and curiosity can achieve. Let us move forward together, not in reckless abandon, but in the spirit of exploration and growth that our human friends have shown us." As the Endeavor prepared to depart, its mission of diplomacy and discovery complete, Zorux bid a bittersweet farewell to Terra and the crew who had become his friends. "We will not forget what you have taught us," he promised, "and we will carry your spirit with us as we face the challenges and wonders of the future." Terra smiled, her eyes bright with emotion. "And we will never forget you, Zorux. You and your people have taught us much as well, about the strength that can be found in unity, in the blending of different ways." As the ship lifted off, ascending into the sky and then to the stars beyond, Zorux watched it go with a heart full of hope and determination. The road ahead would not be easy. There would be struggles and setbacks, just as there would be triumphs and joys. But the Jurians would face it all with a new spirit, a human spirit, forged in the crucible of shared adversity and tempered by the bonds of friendship that stretched across the stars.